everybody, welcome back to the kitchen table and the laptop because it's pie chart time again. Last week I shared with you my revenue streams breakdown, and today it's all about expenses, baby. It's all about spending money. Hi, hello, I'm Hannah. If you are new here, this is something that I do every year, breaking down my income and my expenses as a content creator and an influencer, and also now a creator mentor. I do this for myself in terms of understanding where my business is at, diversifying revenue streams, and seeing what is costing me a lot, where am I spending money. But also I do it in the name of transparency and openness in this industry, and letting you guys in a little bit in terms of what a creative business looks like. Obviously, this is just the way that I do it, but not how everybody does. So this video is the expenses video, and this is the third year in a row that I am doing this. The income I've been doing for 8, but I do feel like just being on year 3 and with my career transition recently, we're still ironing out some creases when it comes to the categories, but we can more easily compare now with previous years. So this video is going to be looking at the financial year of 2024 to 2025. My company's tax year runs from the end of March to the end of March. So that is the 12 months that we're going to be looking at. And in this 12 months, this is my first full 12 months post-career transition where I don't have the studio, I don't have the office space that I'm paying rent on, and I don't have my podcast anymore, so I don't have expenses involved in creating that, and I just have this one YouTube channel rather than 2. And this breakdown that we're going to go through doesn't include paying myself, and it doesn't include paying corporation tax. It's just all of the other expenses before I pay tax and before I pay myself. Right, but before we dive into our sexy pie chart and our numbers, I want to thank this video's sponsor, Squarespace. So whether you're just starting out in the freelance world or you're a small business owner, Squarespace makes it super easy to create your own beautiful website, engage your audience, and sell anything from physical and digital products to courses and even your time, all in one place and all on your terms. So I host my hannahwitton.com website on Squarespace and have done for years, and have also used Squarespace for various other projects that I have had over the years, including my podcast. It is super easy and flexible to use, and there are tons of really flexible and beautiful templates to pick from, and then you could just customize it with all of your own branding and assets depending on what your business or your project is. And with Squarespace's new design intelligence, it empowers anyone to create their own beautiful and personalized website tailored to your needs using AI technology. And with Squarespace Blueprint, you can just answer a few questions and it takes you step by step on this guided process through creating your own website. So it's never been easier, and everything is so intuitive. You can just drag and drop things around. It is great. And Squarespace has a huge suite of visual design tools to help make your website really engaging. There are loads of effects built in and ready to go on any Squarespace website, and there are loads of options to pick from depending on your purpose, your brand, and your business. So if you are in need of your own website, then head to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And then once you have made it and created it and are ready to launch it into the world, you can go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, now onto our pie chart and our numbers. Where have I been spending my money? So this is what our expenses pie chart breakdown looks like for 2024 to 2025. Ta-da, ta-da. Okay, let's break this down. Let's talk details. So my 2 biggest slices of the pie have actually swapped positions in the last year. Now, coming in at number 1, our biggest slice of the pie is video costs at 38.7%. And last year it was 26.4%. So here's the thing. I thought that the difference in my drop in income and then my decrease in expenses after my career shift would balance things out. But this category is the main one that has put a spanner in the works there. So what video costs include is essentially my video editor and paying for captions. So we use a service called Rev. So the difference between this year and last year is last year I had 2 YouTube channels. So there was twice the amount of videos to edit. So this year we've just 1 YouTube channel and half the amount of videos to edit. And yet the actual amount, not just the percentage, but the actual amount that I've spent on video costs has gone up. And there are 2 reasons for this. One is that my video editor costs went up. Beth increased her rates, which is totally within her rights to do. And also captioning costs went up. So in terms of like what Rev charges per minute. And then also videos are getting longer. That's just something that's just like happened over the years on YouTube. And so with a longer video, then your captioning costs is going to go up as well. And this is just what's been happening recently in the last few years with the cost of living crisis, is that everything is getting more expensive. Everyone is putting up their rates, rightly so, because cost of living is going up. But that does mean that as part of my like predictions for when I was making this career shift, in my head, I was like, oh, my video costs is gonna be halved because I'm only gonna have 1 YouTube channel instead of 2. And actually what's happened is it's gone up like ever so slightly. So not ideal, but also, Beth, I love you and please continue editing my videos because I can't do it anymore. Second biggest slice of the pie, which previous years was our biggest, is consultancy fees at 26.1%, previously 34.9%. And this is a category that actually has almost halved. So this includes paying my assistant and my PR, and it used to also include paying my producer who worked with me for I think like 2 years, and she did a lot of work on the sex ed channel and the podcast, but obviously those things don't exist anymore. So yeah, this is actually where I've ended up making a lot of savings, even though I thought I'd be making more in video costs. Next up, we have podcast costs, and this comes in at 0.2%, previously 5%. This has massively decreased because obviously I don't have a podcast anymore. So this was previously paying Riverside, which was the platform that we used to record remote episodes, and paying podcast editor. This is at 0.2% instead of just 0% because I did pay for an entry into the British Podcast Awards, which we didn't get, but I had to pay to enter, and then I also paid our podcast editor again just to help put together the audio part of that application. So that's why there's just this smidge of a podcast cost last year. Workspace. So this is the other one that's massively decreased, and it is now 0.3%, whereas previously it was 9.3%. And this is because I don't have the studio anymore, so I'm not paying rent every month on the studio, but it's still there. It's not 0%, it's 0.3. And that is because occasionally I will get a day pass to a co-working space. This is just if I need a bit of a change of scenery, or for whatever reason, Dan might be working from home that day and I'm like, I'll get out of your way, and I go and work at the co-working space. And then this also included hiring a studio for half a day for my new headshots. So massively decreased, but still there, still occasionally like to work from elsewhere, not just home. So next up is my pension, coming at 12.2% of my income. Previously it was 9.3%. And this percentage increase isn't because the actual amount has increased. It actually more reflects just my total expenses decreasing because the amount that I contribute to my pension has stayed the same. Should I increase it? I don't know. That's a question for my accountants. But because I own a limited company and I'm the director of my limited company, my company, aka me, can contribute to my pension. Love that for me. And it is very important. If you are somebody who is freelance, self-employed, run your own business, make sure you are contributing to a pension. You have to set it up yourself. Your employer, your company will not do that for you because you're self-employed. Next up, we have software and computer costs at 3.6%, previously 3.3%. And this, yes, is a slightly higher percentage, but the actual amount is a fair bit lower. And this is because we are not paying for Riverside. I said that was included in podcast costs last year, but now I'm saying here, again, I did say at the beginning, ironing out creases when it comes to our categories. So maybe Riverside was included in this last year, but so was Otter AI, which was what we used for transcriptions for the podcast, and Descript, which was another software used for the podcast. There was a lot of subscriptions and things that I was able to cancel don't need this anymore, cancel please. But software and computer costs overall includes, subscriptions, computer costs, cloud storage, Frame, which is the software that we use for feedback on video edits, Adobe Creative Cloud, and Squarespace, of course, and probably some other things. Then we have accountancy at 4.8%, previously 3.4%. I don't believe my accountancy fees have gone up in the last 12 months. So that percentage increase again is just a reflection of the decrease in other expenses. Then we have our travel and subsistence category coming in at 3%. Last year it was 1.2%. So this has increased slightly. So this is whenever I am traveling for work and I need to pay for transport or somewhere to sleep and things to eat. And I do very little travel for work these days compared to pre-pandemic and pre-baby. Like I was going to the United States like 2 or 3 times a year for various different like events or cons and things. And so things like flights, all travel, accommodation, food that I needed to eat whilst I was there. So my travel expenses have massively decreased, but obviously I wasn't tracking my expenses back then, unfortunately, because that would be really interesting to see the difference there. But it's slightly gone up this year because I went to Zurich in January, and whilst some expenses were covered for that, I still had to feed myself. So there's that. Next, we have insurance at 1.7%, previously 1.2%. So this is essentially the same. This is life insurance, public liability, employer's liability, and then equipment and contents insurance. And that is actually up for renewal soon. So gotta make sure that I'm insuring all the right stuff. Next, we have telephone and internet at 0.4, previously 0.8. This is just my phone now. It was previously my phone bill and my office Wi-Fi. Don't have the office anymore. Obviously my home Wi-Fi is paid for out of mine and Dan's personal joint account. Here's the question I keep asking myself, do I get a work phone? Do I get a work phone? I feel like I've been thinking about this so much, I need to like write out a full list of pros and cons. But the main pro for me that I see in it is actually managing my social media usage, my scrolling on TikTok, which seems like an insane, like expensive thing to do just to stop myself scrolling on TikTok before bed. But there's other reasons as well in terms of like separating personal and work, especially when it comes to content creation as well, and like managing all of my personal photos and things versus like images and videos that I'm capturing for work. Then we have styling at 0.4%, which very similar, was 0.5 last year. And this is just clothes that I specifically buy for videos or for events. I think my pink suit might be included in this year. Did I buy that in that 12-month period? I think I did. I've worn elements of it for like giving talks and doing like work events and things. Next, we have equipment at 2.4%, previously 1%. And this year, in this last 12 months, I bought this laptop. I have gone back to Mac. You may recall from these videos last year, I had a PC on this table. But the reason why I went back to Mac is actually because of the amount of short form content that I have been filming and editing, and it is just such a faff in terms of the workflow of filming stuff on my phone and then uploading it to Google Drive and then downloading it on my computer so I can then use it to edit. Just being able to airdrop stuff between my phone and my laptop in terms of short form content, but then in terms of all of the assets that I need to promote videos, like thumbnail images and GIFs and everything, it's actually made my life so much easier. So I'm very glad that I like made that switch back. And the other thing is that the PC laptop that I had was more of a like work and gaming PC, but I just like don't have the time to do any gaming anymore. So it's not really necessary. I've played Civ 7 a couple of times on this thing and it's fine, but I don't need to be doing any streaming. And also I got the new MacBook Pro that has all of the ports. Like all of the ports are back. And so that was really like a sign for me, like it's time. You want to get yourself a Mac again because it's got all of the ports and it's even got an SD card hole. So it's like it was built for me. Brilliant. Then we've got research at 0.7%, which is previously 0.5%. And this is essentially just books and newsletter subscriptions that I pay for. With the kind of work that I do, I don't expense all of the books that I buy, obviously, because I do read for pleasure. But I also talk about books a lot. And so if I'm doing a reading vlog and I know that I'm specifically getting books for that video, then I will expense those on the business. And then newsletter subscriptions, to me, are a business expense because of the Patreon reading list that I make, but also just a lot of the subscriptions that I have feel relevant to my work and the kind of content that I make and the things that I talk about online. Then we have charitable donations, which this year is at 0.9%, previously 0.8%, and the amount is also slightly higher this year. I tend to do a mix of donations through my business and through my personal account, kind of like depending on what it is or how big a donation I want to make and if I want to be able to gift aid it. So that's been like pretty steady and increasing over the years, which feels good. Entertainment is 0.4%, previously 0.2%. So in this category, I put things that are fun, but also work related. So it could be like tickets to things that I'm vlogging. So in this financial year period, that included the Barbie exhibit at the Design Museum. And then sometimes it also might include cinema tickets if I'm going to be talking about a movie. Maybe, did it include the Shakespeare Globe tour? I think that might have been the year before. But things like that. Fun things, because I'm somebody who talks about the arts and culture occasionally online. Within reason, I will expense some of those things. Then we have postage, packaging, and stationery, which is so low it doesn't show up. So it's actually 0.05%. So essentially 0%, previously 2%. Last year, that was because we had the Patreon special offer of the stickers. And this year we didn't have that. So it's just like if I need a notebook or pens, but because everything that I do is so digital, it is minuscule. Or occasionally I do need like an envelope and postage for things. But again, without the Patreon special offer and sending out like 800 sticker sets to people, it is not showing up on the pie chart. Then we've got bank charges, sexy, 0.3%, previously 0.2%. And this is just bank fees, PayPal. I pay Monzo for my business account that I have. That's bank charges for you. Now we've got some very exciting new categories. New categories! Again, ironing out the creases in terms of categories because this is only the third year, but also career transition. So naturally, there are going to be some new things. The first is design. This actually was its own category 2 years ago, but then last year didn't really have much design work. But this year it is 0.4%. And essentially in that is paying photographer Kat for my new headshots, because that feels like it's part of design. It's part of my branding. But I think that might be the only thing that has been in that category this year. That's an old category that's made a comeback. The actual new categories that I've created this year, first one is education and training. Now this is something that actually I have had as an expense previously, but not since I started tracking this. Because in the past I've paid for sex and relationships, educator training, but that was before I started tracking all of this. So this is a new category in terms of actually tracking. So this comes in at 3.3%. And this was the coaching course that I did. So I did like a week-long intensive coaching course in September, and then the business course that I did at the beginning of this year also fell into this financial year. And I've decided not to pursue getting a coaching certification this year, like yet, we'll see. But I do occasionally go to these monthly coaching workshops. The organization that did the coaching course that I was on, they have these coaching workshops each month. And as an alumni, I get a little discount, so that's handy. So occasionally if I can make one of those, then that is also part of my education and training. And then our other new category is networking and events. Again, this is something that probably was a really big expense of mine, like pre-baby and pre-pandemic, like tickets for events and things, I don't even know. But this is the first time it's being tracked. And this comes in at 0.2%. So this includes this local network of small business owners who are parents that I am a part of, and we meet in person monthly. So I have to pay like my membership fee to that, which is very small. It's just like per event, per group meeting. And then this also includes my Doing It for the Kids membership and the ticket to the annual meetup that they had in May. Oh wait, no, didn't include the ticket because that is after. Wait, no, but did I pay for it in March? Maybe. I think I maybe did. Anyway, I paid for my membership in this financial year, and doing it for the kids is a podcast, but it's also a community for freelancers who are parents. And yeah, so there's a bit of a theme in the networking and events and things that I've been paying for. So there we have it. That's my expenses breakdown. What do you think? Any surprises? I would say overall, obviously the career transition that I made, I've talked a lot and like reflected on that in terms of mental and emotional impact being best decision ever. But seeing the like actual like finances play out and what I predicted would happen versus like what has actually happened, I would say that I'm like happy with how it went. I feel like it could have gone better, but things happen that are out of your control. But overall, the finances of my business are definitely a lot more manageable now. And again, I did a huge reset with my business, and so that's going to have a huge impact, and it is going to take me a while to build back up, not just post career transition, but post having a baby. I feel very repetitive because, you know, it's been 3 years since I became a mum, but the financial impact of becoming a mum is still there. It's not gone away now that, you know, I have a fully fledged toddler, almost child. It is one of these things that like is a constant negotiation, even though it definitely like is in a better place now than it was like 2 years ago. So I do sometimes feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but I'm like, this is the reality. It doesn't stop. I'm definitely still not out of the financial impact of motherhood trench. Will I ever be? Especially because I want to have another one. So I'm just gonna be like right back down at the bottom again soon. She says, rocking back and forth, like, you want this, you want this. Well, thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't already, go watch the income revenue streams breakdown video. That's kind of like the sister video to this one. And I hope that you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.